We had some very clear objectives and we delivered on those in 2010. I think there's always this balancing between how quickly can you move in that environment, so how quickly can you bring people along who are clearly seeing some of the challenges in both technology transition in our area and also reshaping a company culturally, which we've done a lot.
In the last 5 quarters up till December we put on 55 people, so we grew an awful lot. You know, that's a good time to be investing, because I mean it was so long as we could afford to do it, we figured that if we invested then it would be a big payoff. Particularly, again, revenue fixes everything, so invest in salespeople, and you know, this year we're 40 points up.
In terms of the company and its products, it's been a good year. In terms of improving things, we found we needed to do work on improving our profile, and so we've put a lot of effort into making ourselves better known outside of our existing customer base.
The second half of last year exploded for us in our core technology, but mainly around New Zealand. And a lot of that was to do with the profile we had by our continual trips to Europe and the efforts that we were making over there. A lot of our sort of partner companies or companies we were talking to in New Zealand were starting to say, well, if you're doing that over there, let's see how we can do that around the energy sector in New Zealand.
What we'd done over that quiet period was to stay close to our customers. You know, how can you help them? And so as that work started coming on board, I guess we got rewarded for our diligence, and business has grown again over the last 6 to 8 months.
70% of our revenue comes from offshore, and so we're a big exporter, and obviously we're challenged by the strength of the New Zealand dollar, but we've had long-term relationships with lots of those customers in Europe, and so we really banked on those relationships last year when they came to us and said, look, you know, we need some relief in terms of contracts we may have, or can we find a different way of doing things. Then we were very open to that.
We'd been making a strong push into Europe for about 18 months, and we haven't been back since. Everything's been a bit on hold. I think I should have seen that coming a bit more than what I did. We were a bit too focused on chasing the deal. When the opportunities come back again, financially they get a bit stronger, then we'll be back in. And the great thing about those is each trip and each one of those visits has actually generated some other connection. So there is actually a couple of others that we're working with over there that have the potential to come off a couple of other manufacturers of small in-home monitoring devices, for example.
And we really relied heavily on the fact that these were customers who, when things did come good for them in Europe, they'd see us as a supplier that understood their business, and that's starting to have benefit for us this year.
Well, we've been in business for 30 years, and we were quite surprised with the areas where we weren't well known, and I guess we'd been a little presumptuous and assumed that that our profile would have been higher and greater than it was. That's definitely important in terms of the future, because whilst our existing customers know us very well, as we want to expand, we've got to win that battle to make sure those people are aware of what we're capable of achieving.
At the end of the day, we're a small company from New Zealand, and we needed to make sure that the message about our product was getting through a bit better than maybe what we did.
And then you suddenly realise you've got all your eggs in one basket. So one of the things we said was, okay, this is not about eco. We simply have to go where there's more work. It's just about getting out there and beating the street and getting in front of people. So we were successful in getting business in Auckland and then in Sydney.
We hired these people. We hired 10 of them. They're all under 30 years old, all around the States. So that took our channel management team from 6 to 16. We brought them into the office for 2 months. We trained the hell out of them, and then put them back out in the field in December of 2009. And they have more than doubled our pipeline in the last 12 months, and that's where 40% of the growth has come. And that's not finished, I might add, because really they're only just hitting their stride now. But that was a very significant step for us, definitely.
Would I change too much? Probably not. Could we have moved much faster? Maybe. I mean, I think, you know, the company's done a great job to shift through it during a challenging period.
We've got to get out there and promote ourselves, and if we start to rest on our laurels, we're going to suffer.
So I think, you know, what I've learned over the last 6 to 8 months is to be more focused than ever. I thought I was, but looking back on it, I probably wasn't as focused as I could have been. You know, being quite sure what your goals and what your objectives are, setting ambitious goals. Not stupid goals, but you know, when everybody sits around and says, right, we're comfortable about that, you're going, well, I'm not.